welcome to part 3, everybody. We've made it, and this is the final part in my 3-part series on how to make a noseband. Thank you so much for watching, for those of you that have watched part 1 and 2. If not, be sure and hit my channel and go back and watch part 1 and 2. We discussed, and the first one, how to design the noseband, get everything started. Second one, we talked about coloring and dyeing and all that stuff. And now we're going to work on finishing this bad boy up. So, yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, want to see more, be sure and hit that subscribe button because I have a lot more videos planned. And I thank you guys so much for as always for supporting me and my business and now my YouTube channel. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you all at the end. Bye. Alrighty, so now we're on to edge beveling. I'm going to take my edge beveler that I purchased from Tandy. This is part of their Pro line. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and basically shave off the edge of the inside edge and the outside edge of my noseband. And what this is going to do is this specific beveler is going to help round the edges. And for me, it just gives an overall finished clean look, a more professional look. And it just helps to burnish when I go and do that next. Again, I think it just gives an overall better look. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of the dye that I used, the same color that I used to dye the noseband, and I'm going to go ahead and cover up the parts that I shaved off. That way it just is going to blend evenly. Alrighty, now on to burnishing. I use a combination of sallow soap and water. Some people use a substance called tragacanth, gum tragacanth, but I like to use the sallow soap and the water. For me, it just gives a better burnish, in my opinion. It also keeps it nice and soft. Some people use just like a regular type of soap. Some people just use water, but I feel like the soap or the sallow soap kind of again helps to give a better burnish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is a little hand burnisher here I purchased from Tandy. It has a few different sizes on it, and I'm just going to take the one that fits this edge and I'm just going to rub it back and forth, holding it steady with one hand and rubbing back and forth with some friction, and that's basically what is going to burnish the leather, or kind of basically melt it together, and it gives it that nice clean finished polished look. And I'm just going to add a little bit more of the sallow soap and water from my finger, and I'm going to continue the process until I feel that the edge is nice and burnished. So now you can see after rubbing the sallow soap and water into the edge, it gives a nice finished look. And now I'm just going to continue to do that on the entire inside edge. Okay, so now comes the fun part. This is when I go to add the bling and any rhinestones or any settings like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set my basically flatbacks and then my Swarovski crystals here. I'm going to set one here, and I'm going to set my setting over it, and I'm going to take the correct size setter, and I'm just going to give it a tap, and it's going to set that setting into the leather. And this is going to help hold our rhinestones, our flatbacks, whatever we are adding on. Some people choose to glue them onto leather, but let me tell you, that will not last. You need the metal settings because that is what's going to give you a better product, a better lasting product, and you're not going to have people complaining to you, hey, you know, it's been a week and I've lost rhinestones. Alright, and so once we've set our settings, we're going to take our back piece that is the exact same shape as the front, and I'm going to go ahead and lay the front piece over it. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to basically mark out how big I need my inlay to be, because you're going to want your inlay, the hide that you're putting inside, to be longer than your hole, because that way it's going to be able to be held in place. Now I'm going to use the glue that I love to use. It's called Barge. You can get it at any leather store. And I'm just going to go ahead and add this to the leather. And then once I add a good amount of glue, just kind of swirl it around, make sure that it's good and on there. And then I'm going to take my hide and I'm going to go ahead and press it onto the leather. Make sure that there are no bubbles whatsoever. Okay, once my inlay is on and the glue is dried, I'm going to go ahead and cut it to size, and I'm actually going to cut the inlay a little inside of the shape this way, because when I put the two together, that way the hide doesn't stick out. Even though I'm going to sand down the edges, these hides that I use on the inside will not sand down as easy as the veg tan leather, so I'm sure to kind of cut it a little bit short. Alrighty, so once I have it glued down and cut to size, now I'm going to go ahead and take my top piece and I'm going to go ahead and add the glue all the way around. I'm going to add it on the inside there, I'm going to add it on the inside of the edges, just enough so that it will stick good, because we are going to sew it, but I want to be sure and make sure that it's going to stick in place, because when you go to sew, the leather can move a little bit and you don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it around. And then I'm going to go ahead and press it down onto the leather. And then once I have it pressed down, then I will go ahead and put it in place. Alright, once I have it on there, I'm going to go ahead and take these little paper clip things, and I'm going to go ahead and press the edges together. This is just basically going to hold it as it dries to make sure that it is shaped correctly and everything lines up properly. Because when you're moving around, you're going to get ready to stitch, you want to make sure that everything is lined up good and even. Alrighty, and so once everything is completely dry, we're going to go ahead and remove the clips, and we're going to get it ready to sew. Alrighty, once I have it lined up, my threads are pulled out, I'm going to go ahead and start the process of stitching it. Alrighty, and once we have both sides sewn, now it's going to be time to do the outside edges. Alright, so the first step in finishing our outside edges is we're going to take a sander. You're going to sand the outside edges. I'm taking my drill press here and I am just running the edge along my sander here. You don't want to use too heavy of a grit of sandpaper because that can really kind of rough up your edges. You want to be sure and use a fine grain of sandpaper. And you can see our edge is starting to get a lot more flat and a lot more smooth. Alrighty, so once I use a big sander on this specific style of noseband, you know how it has the little curves. I'm going to go ahead and take a smaller sander. I'm just going to rub it back and forth and be sure that I get in those grooves and that everything is going to be sanded straight and flat, and it's going to give us a better edge. Alrighty, so once all of our edges are sanded, we're going to go ahead and take our edge beveler again, and we are going to run it down the entire edge of our noseband. And we are going to do this on the front side and the back side, and again, this is just going to help make the rounded edge. If we did not if we did not bevel the edges, they would be very like a 90-degree angle. It wouldn't look as good, you wouldn't get that smooth finished edge. And it could potentially, honestly, rub the horse. So we want, as always, to make the best product possible and don't skip any corners because it could end up costing you more in the long run. Alrighty, so our next step is we're going to take our dauber and we're going to get the dye on there, again, the same color that we used to dye the noseband. And we are going to go and we are going to rub it all the way down the edge, being sure to cover each and every part of the edge and making sure that basically the color just blends in with the noseband. Alrighty, now comes the time to finish off that edge. And so I'm going to take my noseband and I'm going to add my saddle soap and water. And then I have a burnisher that I purchased for my drill press. Some people just use the hand burnisher like I used on the inside. For the outside, sometimes people use a Dremel. They do make attachments for that. But I just use my drill press because I have one and it's easier to hold it against that. And so I'm just picking the groove that fits best with my edge. And as you can see, the edge is starting to get burnished. I'm going to go ahead and add some more. And I'm just going to keep doing that. The process itself for the whole edge probably just takes a minute and a half. But I'm just going to go ahead and continue going over it because the more I go over it, the better the burnish is going to be. Now once our edges are finished, I'm going to go ahead and take a lighter and I'm going to go ahead and burn the ends of my threads. And this just helps them to stay in place because you don't want any threads unraveling. My stitcher or my sewing machine does do a lock stitch, but you still want to take that extra precaution because you don't want threads fraying after your client receives their product. Alright, the next step is to punch our holes for our concho. So I'm going to go ahead and undo the screw that came on the concho. I'm going to go ahead and set it where I want it and I'm going to press down and that's basically just going to make a little mark as to where my hole is going to go. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you guys that up close. Again, just pressing down, it's going to leave a little mark like that. And then once I have the mark there, I'm going to go ahead and take my hole punch. I use a 3/16 craft tool size 6 hole punch. All conchos basically are a universal size. And so I'm going to go ahead and punch one hole there. And I'm going to punch one hole on the tab. That way we can go ahead when we attach this to the halter. We will have holes to add the screw through. Now we're going to take our screw and we're just going to add it through the back hole and then we're going to go ahead and screw it into the concho. Most of you I know how to do this, but I'm just showing you basically so you can see it all together. I'm going to go ahead and take my flat screwdriver and I'm going to go ahead and screw this in. And now you can see our concho is attached, and so when our customer receives it, they can go ahead and add it to their halter, and our noseband is complete. It is done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I enjoyed this. So that is it. That is how you make a noseband from start to finish, or at least that's how I do it. I know I'm not an expert. I'm just trying to share with you guys the knowledge that I have learned so far, and just so you can see all what goes into a custom-made item. That's the problem I think with now. People just don't understand, and it's not your fault, but people just don't understand what custom makers go through to actually make an item. I mean, there is such a big process involved, and this is just a noseband. This is just a noseband. This isn't even a tack set, which has several more parts to it. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Be sure and subscribe if you like my videos. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. I can't wait to bring you more videos. I have many more planned, including a shop tour and kind of like I'm going to do like a vlog, kind of like a day in the life of a leatherworker, just so you guys can kind of see what all goes around. I know I probably don't spend as much time in my shop as a lot of other people do, but just because I'm given the freedom now to not have to, but I want to, so I will try and show you guys as much as I can. So thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Again, hit that subscribe button, and I love you all, and thank you so much for supporting my business, and I will see you guys later. Bye.